Hi, it's Jon Mitchell, and this is another installment of the Mayor's Weekly Update. So this week was budget week. This was the week that I presented my budget to the City Council, and in total it is a proposed $362 million budget that includes both the city's general fund as well as the city's enterprise funds. The enterprise funds are things like the water enterprise fund, the wastewater enterprise fund, and enterprise funds for downtown parking and the airport. So when we talk about the budget, we're usually just focusing on the general fund. And I think the main point this year is that it is yet again another tight budget. And it's tight for a lot of reasons, and it's tight surprisingly so, just given all the growth that we've seen in the city. You'd assume that money would become, well, a lot more money would be coming in given all the job growth, given all the projects that we have going on. But the reality here, and it's true in other cities, is that money is not coming in as much as you would think given where the economy is. But that said, we're doing what we've always been doing, which is to tighten our belts, to achieve efficiencies in our operations, which we've done a really good job of over the last few years, whether it's the solar projects that are saving us millions of dollars on electricity costs, or the consolidating of departments, or going to a new phone system, or doing all the capital planning that we've been doing. All these things are really adding up, and they're easing the burden on taxpayers. But the reality we face is that so much of our budget is dictated by state policy. And we'll show you a chart that depicts this pretty well. But by and large, the city controls only about 13% of its entire budget. And by that I mean this: about 40% of the budget is the school department, and we fund the school department at the state minimum, which is what's called the net school spending level. That cannot be reduced. I believe that our school system needs more investment for sure, but and we're not in a position to put more money in our school department as yet, and I hope to in the years ahead. But the reality is that 40% of the budget can't be reduced. And then you have things like healthcare, pensions, and other non-discretionary spending that add up to another big chunk of the budget. And then you have the cost of fire and police, which are governed by the state arbitration process, which is very, very favorable to the public employee unions and unfavorable to city taxpayers. So what's left is, and this, you'll see this up on the screen, but this Pac-Man looking pie of a budget in which 13% of the total is all the other departments in city government. So that's the libraries and the DPI and the building facilities and the treasurer's department, building inspectors, veterans, everything else. That's that small pie. And so when we debate the budget every year, we're just talking about that small sliver. And so, it's my hope in the next, for this budget, but certainly in the years ahead, that we can change that. There needs to be a debate in the state of Massachusetts about the costs that the state imposes on municipalities, especially municipalities like New Bedford that frankly don't have money growing on trees. So what's really driving the additional spending? What's making that small sliver squeeze a lot? It's the growth of charter schools, again, a state mandate, pensions, which are governed by state law, and healthcare, which is largely governed by state law, almost entirely for practical purposes. And that's putting the squeeze on us. So we're going to continue to weather the storm and steadily go down the stream so that we don't get too far ahead of ourselves like some other cities are, which I think when the business cycle turns will actually go over the waterfall. We're trying to stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of current events so that we can anticipate problems as we go along. But it's not easy. It isn't easy, and I for one, think that the budget, such as it is, imposes too heavy of a burden on on city taxpayers, again, because of these state policies. And it's also crowding out other important services, like schools, like other things that we need to be investing in. So as I said to the city council the other night, I don't mean for this to sound dire. I don't mean for us to say, geez, boy, this sounds like the city's on the ropes. We're not at all. Obviously, the city's doing very well with all the job growth, some 5,000 jobs in the last 5 years that have been generated in the city, with the city's the highest bond rating in the city's history, with crime going down, with the city becoming far more attractive physically, and with all sorts of quality life improvements and new projects that are underway. The city's doing very well, and people are noticing both here and elsewhere. But in order to keep all that going, we really do need to manage our finances very well so that we can continue to provide top-notch services to our residents and as well lower the burden on taxpayers. That's my goal. That's what we're trying to achieve, and we'll be working hard with the City Council in the weeks ahead in order to further those goals. So with all that, that's been the Mayor's Weekly Update. We'll see you next week.